Open your electricity bill. It is probably higher than it used to be, and you likely assumed that was just inflation or the weather or the usual mysterious reasons. Here is a different answer. In parts of the United States, a chunk of that increase is going to build power lines, substations, and generators for buildings you will never enter, owned by companies you do not work for, running artificial intelligence you may not use. Retail electricity prices have climbed nearly 40% since 2021, the fastest stretch on record. And in the largest grid region in America, the average household is on track to be paying around $70 a month more by 2028. You did not vote for that. You are paying for it anyway. This is politics in everything. Today, who is actually paying for the AI boom? Start with the physical reality, because AI is not a cloud. It is a building. A data center is a warehouse packed with computers, and training and running modern AI models takes an astonishing amount of electricity. These facilities do not sip power the way a home does. A single large campus can draw as much electricity as a small city, 24 hours a day, every day, forever. And they're being built at a furious pace, because every major technology company is convinced that whoever has the most computing power wins the next decade. Which creates a very simple problem. All that new demand has to come from somewhere. Somebody has to build the wires and the plants and the substations to deliver it. And somebody has to pay for that. So who does? To understand it, you need to know about something almost nobody has heard of, the capacity auction. In the biggest grid region in America, called PJM, which covers 13 states and the District of Columbia, there is a yearly auction. Power generators bid to promise they will have electricity available in the future, and the grid pays them to guarantee it. When demand is expected to rise sharply, those promises get expensive. And demand is expected to rise very sharply. In the auction, whose results landed in July 2026, analysts calculated it would add around $6.3 billion to consumer bills over 3 years, and attributed most of that increase to data center demand. Add in previous auctions, and the data center-related burden on those ratepayers approaches $30 billion. Now, here is the crucial mechanism, the bit that turns a technology story into a political one. When a data center needs an enormous new connection, new substations, heavy-duty feeders, high-voltage lines, those costs frequently do not land on the company that needed them. Under existing tariff structures, they get spread across everybody on the system, which means your bill, and your neighbor's bill, and the bill of the small shop on your corner, all quietly help finance infrastructure built for a private, extremely profitable enterprise. One analysis found ratepayers across 7 states were on the hook for over $4 billion of infrastructure approved in a single year purely to connect data centers. The grid gets upgraded. The AI company gets the electricity. You get the invoice. Now, to be fair, and this matters, the story is not quite as simple as tech company bad. For years, data centers actually pushed retail electricity costs down in some places. They were huge, steady, reliable customers, paying into a system whose fixed costs could then be spread across more usage, which helped everyone. Some analysts argue that held true right up until about 2024. Electricity prices are also rising for reasons that have nothing to do with AI at all. Aging infrastructure, extreme weather, wildfire costs, and the enormous expense of replacing equipment installed generations ago. Blaming your entire bill on artificial intelligence would be lazy and wrong. But the direction of travel has clearly changed. The thing that used to spread the cost is now, in the fastest growing regions, driving it. And then there is the part that turns frustration into something sharper. Because in many places, these data centers are not just having their power costs socialized. They're being actively paid to come. 38 states offer tax incentives to attract data centers. And the sums are extraordinary. In Ohio, the state's own tax department reported that its data center exemption cost $555 million in 2024 and $1.6 billion in 2025. In Virginia, the home of the world's densest data center corridor, the tax breaks were reported to have cost roughly $1.6 billion in a single year as well. So follow the money. The public helps fund the buildings through tax breaks. Then the public helps fund the electricity through rates. Twice. But surely it is worth it for the jobs? This is where the arithmetic gets uncomfortable. A data center is enormously expensive to build, and then astonishingly empty. Once operational, a facility the size of several football fields may be run by a few dozen technicians. Critics, including the research group Good Jobs First, point out that these projects often create relatively few permanent jobs compared with the size of the subsidy, while shifting power, water, and infrastructure costs onto the surrounding community. Compare that to a factory of similar cost, employing thousands. This is the modern bargain in miniature. Enormous capital, enormous energy, enormous public expense, and remarkably few people on the payroll. Which is why something genuinely interesting is now happening. Ordinary people started opening their bills and getting angry, and politicians noticed. In 2026, the revolt went mainstream. Of the 38 states offering these incentives, lawmakers in roughly 24 introduced proposals to curtail or repeal them. In a single month, June 2026, Illinois paused its incentive program, Arizona enacted a 3-year moratorium, Oklahoma passed a law to protect ratepayers, and a city in California voted to ban data centers outright. Virginia went further and created what is described as the first state tax in America, charged directly on the electricity that data centers consume at just over a cent per kilowatt hour. Translation: if you want our power, you pay for our power. Data centers have gone from the prize every state was chasing to a political liability. So step back and look at the shape of this. A technology sold to you as weightless, living in a cloud, turns out to be one of the heaviest physical things humans have ever built. Concrete, copper, turbines, and enough electricity to power cities. The benefits of that machine flow to a handful of enormous companies and their shareholders. The costs, the wires, the plants, the tax breaks, the higher bills are spread quietly across millions of households who are never asked. That is not a glitch in how this was built. That is a choice made in tariff structures and state legislatures that almost nobody outside those rooms understood at the time. And the only reason it is changing now is that the bill got big enough for ordinary people to notice. So the next time someone tells you artificial intelligence is free or nearly free, remember what you're holding. Every answer, every generated image, every automated summary has a physical cost measured in megawatts, and somebody, somewhere, is paying it. Right now, that somebody is partly you, in an invoice you never connected to a technology you may never have chosen. The real question is not whether we should build this stuff. It is who should carry the cost of building it, and whether the people paying ever get a vote. Because a power bill is not just a number. It is a decision about who matters, printed on a piece of paper you are legally required to settle. A warehouse full of computers, a wire in the ground, and a number on your bill. Everything is political, even the plug in your wall. This is politics in everything. If this changed how you read your electricity bill, subscribe and tell us in the comments. Should AI companies pay their own power costs? Next time, a new arena, same game.